Welcome back, Ink Drinkers, to this second bonus episode of the month. Our theme for this episode is, maybe you could have guessed, our favorite beach reads, as well as maybe some that we're looking forward to reading this summer.
Yep. So we've got just a couple that we have enjoyed in the past and a few that we are going to share from our very lengthy TBRs.
I can start. So you're going to kind of get an idea of what my mood is during the
Yes.
summer through these picks. My first one is Violet Thistleweight is not a villain anymore by Emily Krepholt. I picked this up on a whim. One, the cover screams summer. It's bright colors and flowers, and I can't resist a dragon.
Yep.
But we follow Violet in this one, and she was actually the right hand woman of an evil Dark Lord in this town, and the Dark Lord is defeated. And she's kind of free to do what she wants now. And so she wants to start over, and she goes to a nearby town and opens up a floral shop. Well, if you're opening up a floral shop, you need to be able to grow flowers. And part of her tenant agreement is that she gets half of the greenhouse that is on the property. But complicating factor is there's an alchemist, a very grumpy, very handsome
Oh,
alchemist,
Grumpy
of course,
Sunshine.
that lives nearby and has his own alchemy shop and has to share this with her. And their plants start getting affected by this blight. And so even though they really don't, get along, they have to work together to try to figure out what's going on with the blight and stop it before it takes over everything in the town. It is Grumpy Sunshine. It is so much fun, and I feel like it's such a great read for the beach because you're just bright and happy, and I really, really enjoyed this one. Would highly recommend.
So my first is 11 Other Conspiracies by Mallory Marlowe. This book does hits my little love for cryptids, right? If you can't tell from the little background image here. You are following two different characters in this one, Hallie and Hayden. Hallie just broke up from, a nasty relationship, and is like an online influencer kind of person. Hayden, on the other hand, is a cryptid expert and does a podcast. And the two of them kind of run into each other and shenanigans ensue. They kind of run an investigation together. It's just all sorts of fun. I love the dynamics between the two of them. And of course, a cryptid investigation for the summertime. Like, why not? So, not quite as cozy as that one, but it was definitely fun to read poolside.
Agreed. I really love that one too. My next one is Faraway Inn by Sarah Beth Durst. Now, preface, this is a YA book. It was one she had written before she was traditionally published, and now it has come out traditionally published. This is the Fairy Loot copy, so your copy may look a little different than this.
I freaking love the edges and the naked hardcover of that.
It is gorgeous. I
OMG.
will plug it. The inside and
That's my favorite part right there.
the
Right
cover.
There. Right
It feels very herbology.
I love it.
But we follow Kalisa, and she is just out of her junior year of high school, about to start summer. So this also takes place during the summer. And she had an unexpected breakup with her boyfriend. She never thought this was going to happen. And oh my gosh, her world has been rocked. She's heartbroken. And so her moms send her to her great aunt's B&B, the Faraway Inn, to help for the summer. But when she gets there, her great aunt Z doesn't seem to want her there or expect her to come. And there's so many crazy things going on. There's something strange going on with the inn that she can't quite figure out. Of course, there's the groundkeeper's son who's there to help her with the issues that arise, and she is determined to prove that she can help so that her great aunt will let her stay. And so shenanigans ensue. There's a slew of just amazing tenants or guests at
Mm-hmm.
this faraway inn, and the whole story is just magical and fun. If you don't mind a YA, I would highly recommend this one because I just enjoyed Kalisa, and the inn itself is so cool. So pick it up.
Next one is very well known, especially because of the Netflix show, The Duke and I. It's the first Bridgerton book. It is Daphne's story. And no, they don't all look like this. They all have like the tie-in covers now. But this is the first one. You follow Daphne. It's her season out among the ton, and she is determined to fall in love and to make the right match. Her older brother Anthony is Anthony, um, and she goes along with a little bit of a fake dating trope in this one with Anthony's very good friend. Um, it's quite excellent. Might I don't know. I can't decide which one's my favorite. I love the entire series. I will say that if you've watched the show, there are some pretty big differences between the show and the novels. I fell in love here first. As the show was getting big, I wanted to know where the
Yeah.
source material came from,
As
um,
readers do.
as readers do. So I am a big proponent of the book. Was definitely better with the entire series, especially with some other characters. They shall not be named. But if you haven't read any of the Bridgerton books by Julia Quinn, I definitely recommend checking them out.
This is not the theme, but subconsciously it must have been because this is also a magical inn book. A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana. Now, you may have heard of her before. She also wrote the it, Secret Society of Irregular
The
Witches.
witches.
I always get the title mixed up. And I think I brought that one up, or Mandy may have brought
We
that one
might have
up
both.
at a different episode. But I absolutely love this book as well. So we follow Sarah Swan, who was like one of the most powerful witches in Britain at one point, and something goes wrong. Her aunt passes away, and she resurrects her,
Oops.
and then loses all of her power. And with that, she's also like trying to hide the fact that she's done this because it's wrong. And so she ends up running a magical inn with her great aunt and another group of crazy tenants, but she learns about a spell that could help restore her powers. And enter a magical historian, Luke, who has a lovely little sister in tow, and they come to the inn and kind of try to help her figure out how to restore her powers. There are some other great characters like a talking fox and an undead chicken, and things just go from there. Obviously, this is another, well, not obviously, this is another romance, but it's another Grumpy Sunshine a little bit. But if you love a good little like witchy romance, I highly recommend this one, especially poolside in the sun or on the beach. It's fantastic.
All right, I'm gonna go YA. I'm also going graphic novel. Heartstopper. This is one of my absolute favorite series in general. It is about two boys that fall in love. These two, Nick and Charlie. They are in high school in different years, and this series, the final one, she says final one. I think she said it before. I'm kind of hoping it's not because I just love these two characters. Actually, just came out earlier this week, And so I'm like dying to get in to see where they go, because if you read through the series, it takes them through their last couple years of high school and into like their first transition into to university.
Mm.
And it just follows the two of them. They're very different personalities, um, kind of struggling with their identities, their
Mm.
sexualities, their friendships, and it's just a really heartwarming love story. I also love the way that sometimes the emotion is shown in these.
Mm.
With it being a graphic novel, you get to see a lot more through the pictures, but the leaves in particular are a theme throughout, and sometimes you'll just see them in a certain way across like one or two of the pages that kind of
Mm.
just emote different things throughout. This was something that I picked up kind of thinking, I don't know if it was going to be for me. And I absolutely adore this series. So if you haven't checked it out, the show actually that I think Netflix picked up to do does an amazing job of following this story as well. So again, book was better, but these are great.
And I think a graphic novel is great for the summer. You don't
Yes.
necessarily have to be super like deep in the words. You can see the pictures. I love that. Little departure from my magical inn theme. Um, kind of a left turn. This is huge right now.
Yes.
And so I'm sure many of you already know or have heard about this series, Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinneman. I have brought this up so many times. It's
Same,
one of my
same.
goals this year to finish the books that are out, which is up to 8. But this first one follows Carl, who is a Coast Guard vet, has recently kind of, I think, broken up with his girlfriend and is at home with her cat, her show cat, Princess Donut, while she is in the Bahamas or on an island somewhere.
Yep.
And it's in the middle of winter in Seattle, and the cat jumps out the window. And he has to go outside in his underwear, ill fitting Crocs, and
Yep.
try to get this cat back inside. And while he's outside, all the buildings collapse because an alien invasion has come. And he is forced to grab this cat
Hmm.
and go down into this like creepy doorway. He ends up in a dungeon themed game show. This is a lit RPG where him and this cat have to fight mobs, goblins, level up, obtain skills, choose classes. This is very like D&D, like WoW, World of
Hmm.
Warcraft. Like if you play a lot of video games, I think you'll really enjoy this one. This one is definitely has a lot more gore
Hmm.
and a lot more raunchy humor in it.
Yes.
But it is such a fun ride that I think really fits a summer vibe. You could read it at any time, but I
Yes.
feel like poolside at the beach, just somewhere where you're enjoying, like this is a great fun read to
Yes.
dive
Yeah.
into.
And we highly recommend the audiobook because
Yes.
Jeff Hayes, who does the narration, chef's kiss.
I absolutely love Jeff Hayes, and especially in the first book, I feel like he makes Carl sound like
Yes.
Kronk from The Emperor's New Groove. Um, and so I just picture Kronk and Yzma running around the dungeon. It's hilarious. I
Cat
love it.
Yzma, though. It's
Exact.
Cat Yzma.
That's what I mean. The little well, you know, she's running around because she has a similar attitude,
Yep.
Princess Donut.
Yes. All right. So my final one is If the Shoe Fits by
That was a
Julie
good one.
Murphy. It is from the Meant to Be series. So this is a Disney Hyperion series where they've had different authors take different of the princess romances and kind of modernize them. This one is the Cinderella retelling. We follow Cindy, who loves shoes. Haha,
Shocker.
shocker. And she is moving back in with her stepmother, who's an executive producer for this big reality dating TV show, and ends up being a contestant on the show herself. Um, she is a plus size woman that I loved because I feel like they're not represented as well within romance novels.
Mhm.
And I thought that was a really nice nod in this particular novel. But you do get the Cinderella, like kind of the Cinderella-ish story, even though there's, kind of like a bachelor esque
Yeah.
show dating
Mhm.
show going on. It was just a really fun romance story. It has a different kind of ending that I really enjoyed. And I ate this one up sitting poolside.
Mhm.
I think I hit quite a few romances in my summer reads, but this one was one that this was a 5-star read for me a few summers ago that I like constantly think of just about
Mhm.
every time I go to the pool now.
Mhm.
So,
I also read this one, I think last summer at the pool, and I loved that she was plus size. She kind of ends up on the show after
hmm,
somebody drops out, and she's a shoe designer. So the
yeah.
reason she's there is to like basically promote her shoes. And I thought that was a great like all of these, we've read a considerable amount of them,
Hmm,
and I love like picking out the twists, like
yeah.
the seeds that it came from. I actually have a couple more to read. I haven't read the Tangled one or the Beauty and the Beast one, and maybe not the Ariel one. I think you've read
I've read all
all of
I'm
those.
caught up except for the one that comes out later this year, which is I'm excited for. It's all of the characters that have existed so
Oh
far in
yeah,
this world. And it's going to be short stories, I believe, at Christmas time.
I
So
think I
I'm really
saw that.
excited for
Yeah,
it.
a holiday theme.
Yes.
So those are our recommendations, but we each have a couple that
Yes.
we are looking forward to reading on our either vacations or at the pool for this summer. Um, and my theme continues, not the in theme, but the witchy theme.
Hmm.
Um, this one's been out for a long time, so
Hmm.
many of you probably have already read this. We recently went to Big Ohio Book Con and we actually got to see Erin Sterling speak. And when she was talking about this book, it really sold it on me. I am not a huge romance reader, which may seem odd because I just pitched 3 romances to you. But I, the way she talked about it and how passionate she was about it, I
Hmm.
had to pick it up. So if you don't know, we follow Vivian. About 9 years ago, she had a breakup, as many of us
Hmm.
have had, and she curses her ex and goes on with her life. But now he has come back to their hometown in Georgia and he seems to be suffering some bad luck. So maybe her ex hex worked. However, the town is now inundated with some odd happenings and an angry ghost and some other things. And now these two must work together to figure out how to stop them from taking over the town. I think that sounds fantastic, and I can't wait to get my hands like around this at the pool.
All right, so I've got the field guide for The Formerly Villainous by Autumn K. England. This one was sold to me as like if Sauron from Lord of the Rings hadn't died and he went into like a reform home after the war and was like trying to be good again. And I was like, okay, sign me up.
Mm-hmm.
Like that sounds great. So we're following Oakland, who is an ex evil sorcerer kind of guy. And he is now in his own little house trying to not do magic, not do villainous things when he gets coaxed into a friendship with a ghost and a talking dog.
Hmm.
And there might be, a tentative romance with a librarian. And
Sounds like a good time.
maybe magic could be used for a good cause instead. And he never thought of it that way. So I picked this one up. It was sold to me greatly. Let's be honest, the edges are adorable. I love them. So I'm really looking forward to kind of a cozy romance fantasy by the poolside this year.
I also have that one. um, I already pitched her book Far Away In
Yep.
as one that I loved. I will almost, I think I've bought pretty much everything she has written as far as like cozy fantasy goes. I know she has a couple of other things out there, and this is actually an arc of a book that comes out at the end of this month, Sea of Charms. So if you've read the other two books, you, especially Enchanted Greenhouse, you will have met the main character, Marin. She's a sailor who goes from island to island to bring supplies. Well, she's also brokenhearted. I guess I have a thing about people that are going through breakups today. But she ends up making a stop at the capital. And the capital is going through a revolution. One of her friends is in trouble. And so she takes him onto her boat. And she's like, okay, you can stay on my crew, but you have to pretend to be my boyfriend at the end of Harvest Festival back home. So it seems like there's going to be a fake dating trope. There's also a sea serpent that accompanies her, and a sentient plant, as with pretty much all of Sarah Beth Durst's cozy spell shop series. I can't wait to get into this. I loved Marin, and I wanted her story. I remember reading Enchanted Greenhouse. I was like, I hope she gets her own, and so I'm so glad that she did.
Okay, so Sea of Charms, a letter to the luminous deep. So this is told through a series of letters, which I love those kind of novels. But we are in an underwater world in this novel, and our main character goes through a devastation and um, yes, loses her home, and then starts corresponding with a scholar to kind of learn more about what happened, and piecing together kind of what happened because her sister is also lost. And so we get letters and sketches and field notes that were kind of collected and left behind by her sister to kind of piecemeal what happened. So I'm really excited for this one. There is a sequel to it. It's supposed to be like super cozy and charming. It was sold to me as like a warm hug. So, and with the theme that this is, I definitely want to take this one on the beach when I go, because I feel like this would be like perfect for the beach side, right there at the ocean.
Exactly, just like Sea of Charms.
Just like Sea of Charms.
So this next one is an author I talk about constantly.
This is hysterical.
We went to see her speak recently, and I cannot wait to get into this one. It's Miss Mevel Goes Back to the Chopping Block. Now, we also know, as Mandy so loves to poke me for, that I love an older female protagonist. If it has an elderly woman as the main character, I probably will love it. And this has the humor of Jessie Q. Sutanto. So we follow Miss Mevel, who is 63 and has been a trophy wife her whole life. And her husband is suddenly leaving her for their private chef.
Ugh.
So she thinks to herself, it's the fact that I can't cook, and that's why he's leaving me. I'll go to this fancy culinary institute in Paris, learn how to cook, and he'll love me again. And so she tries and actually ends up at their sister school in England, right outside of Oxford, and things go awry from there. I'm sure that there is a found family in here, because that is very common in her books. I cannot wait to get into this, to see what crazy things this woman is going to do in the kitchen. The way that Jessie talked about this during her author talk that we saw was just so lovely. And it was, she said there were lots of themes of finding yourself and having a second act, which is something I always love. So pick this one up if you're a elderly lady lover like me.
Keep that book out for a second, because you're gonna die. Hey, look!
Finally!
I also have a Jessie Q. Sutanto book in my summer TBR. She's been dying for me to read this one. I have read both of the Vera Wong books that Jessie Q Sutanto wrote. That was my first dive into her as an author, but I am finally going to read Dial A for Aunties. So Madeline ends up accidentally killing her blind date at a wedding, correct?
No, they are on a blind date and she does accidentally kill them,
Okay.
but her family runs like a
That's
business that
that's what it
helps
is.
with weddings.
And so her mother and Meddlesome aunties help
Mhm.
get rid of the body, and I can only imagine the shenanigans that ensue. So I am very excited to dive into this one because Jessie Q Sutanto's humor alone is phenomenal, let alone her character development. So I am ready for another series by her. I also have the Miss Mabel book, but I think I'm gonna get to this one before I get to her newest.
That is also one of my favorites. I have talked about it before.
Yes.
Just the way that they try to solve this problem of a dead body while also trying to fulfill their duties at this wedding while the venue is owned by her college ex-boyfriend, hilarious. And also just the fact that her name is
That's
Madeline, not Madeline.
Madeline.
They messed it up on her birth certificate, so she is Madeline Chan. Highly would also recommend that. My last one is more of like a fairy tale type
Mm.
of book. Sometimes I like something that's a little more whimsy.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one that I got in Fairy Loot recently that came out very recently, The Unicorn Hunters. I don't think it's going to be cozy. I don't think it's going to be very cozy, but it does follow Anne, who is the heir to the throne of Brittany. They were kind of conquered. Her father was dethroned and killed. She is in power and she is supposed to marry the King of France. However, France are their enemy,
Mm.
and she promised her father she would not let Brittany be taken completely. So
Mm.
she has a plan to be betrothed to France's greatest enemy, which I guess other than them. And in order to get away with this deception and go through with her plan, she creates this need to go on a hunting party to this like more mysterious kind of area of the forest that is depicted as maybe having unicorns. And so they're going to go on this unicorn hunt. She thinks, okay, it's just a ruse so that I can get to this other guy and marry him. But then it seems like, obviously, I haven't read it yet, they find something. And so some things start to happen, and she might just find what she needs, the magic that she needs to save her kingdom.
Ooh.
So I've heard that this is so ethereal and like fairy tale like, but also loosely based on history, a historical fantasy, and I cannot wait to dive into it.
That one's also on my TBR. I don't know if I'll get to it this summer. All right, so my final one is the reimagining of Thornwood House by Jayla Johnson. This one is definitely in the more cozy realm. Evelyn Sharp is a witch, and she has adopted a young ward, and Ruby, and they have an opportunity. Well, she does, Evelyn does, to become a caretaker of Thornwood House, a magical house that has rejected multiple of its previous keepers. And so she arrives on the sunny area island to go and take care of this very magical house. And it just seems very loving and
Mhm.
whimsical, and I have a feeling it's gonna have a little bit of a found family feel to it,
Mhm.
just with her newly adopted daughter. But then also, it just feels like with the house being a sentient being itself, and then I see the town kind of like rallying around her. So Sarah Beth Durst is one that kind of quoted and has been promoting this one, and you and I both love her so much. So I am really looking forward to diving into this one.
That one is also high on my TBR. Just the cover and the
Yes.
house makes me think of Howl's Moving Castle.
Yes. Oh, it definitely
And
roams around.
it the house does move, and I love like a good adult child
Mm,
relationship. Like you often see like elderly grumpy man with a little, or I just talked about Mad Mabel in another episode, elderly grumpy woman and this little girl. Like I love stories like that, and she's not an elderly grumpy woman, but she
no.
does have a new ward, and I think that is what really drew me to that, because I
Yeah.
love those relationships.
So those are our recommendations and hopefuls. Do we have any that kind of hit the same as you? Do you have any that you would suggest now that you've seen things that we've read in the past and things that we're hoping to dive into this summer?
Let us know. I'm always looking for new summer recs.
Catch you next time.